Batwara 1947 was supposed to be a much simpler film. The 2.5 kilo ka haath weighs it down an extra 250 kilo. I'm happy it exists, but also exhausted I had to watch it. Let's discuss. Hello, welcome back to the channel. Today we are reviewing Rajkumar Santoshi's Batwara 1947, adapted from a 1989 play Jis Lahore Ni Vekhya O Jamyani by Asghar Wajahat, who also shares dialogue writing credit on this project. The film opens in Meerut. It's 14th August 1947. Indians everywhere are preparing to celebrate the nation's first ever Independence Day.
देश की आजादी मुबारक हो.
आपको भी बहुत मुबारक हो.
But in places like Meerut, some residents don't realize that local Hindu mobs are approaching, and soon Muslims of this area will not be able to live in their own homes due to partition. Reluctant but forced by looters and murderers, the Mirza family, Sikandar, his wife Hamida, and kids Javed and Tanu pack up whatever they hurriedly can, head to a train station where they get separated amid the thousands of soon-to-be refugees. Now, in case you cannot tell, the first act continues to proceed in the most predictable fashion. Santosh Sivan's shockingly banal cinematography does very little to enhance the familiar atmosphere in any significant cinematic fashion. Sunny Deols through smoke and people, pushing angrily, emerging slow motionly. We don't quite know what he does for a living until later when he starts a handmade kapron ka karkhana, but there is very little reason why this simple small business owner should be built like a bison. Their son Javed gets tragically misplaced, and somehow the rest of the family makes their way safely to Lahore. Now at the refugee camp there, Mirza gets the first real experience of the tough road to rehabilitation. In one scene, he gets so angry at a local officer, his frustration leads to an outburst about goosekhori and corruption. You can almost sense the actor just stop short of
तारीख पर तारीख मिलती रही है,
as Santoshi and Sunny have done so spectacularly before. This is also where the tone of the film begins to become clearer. This is a message movie attempting to counter religious divide currently prevalent in the nation, using a tale as old as time to remind viewers about the harms of aligning oneself with religious hardliners. This tone is stuck somewhere in the Bombay Masala cinema of at least 30 to 40 years ago, when heroes simply needed to be heroic, women pretty and helpless, and the music loud. When the Mirza family finds themselves allotted a palatial Haveli in Lahore, one we are told has 22 rooms, and they refuse to let one single old woman who initially owned the Haveli also live there, contained to one room, the film lost me. Not because I judged the morality of these people, they were displaced themselves, but simply because none of the acting or directing choices here made sense. We're supposed to be devastated for this wife, Hamida, played by Zinta, as her immense grief on losing her son leads her to hallucinate his return and other such moments. The same Hamida has no compassion for this grieving mother living like a ghost in this Haveli, much older than her, which honestly gives the character an interesting shade. What the actor playing the character gets no notes from Santoshi on is how to bring this duality alive in a way that impresses upon the viewer how bizarre and confusing this time must have been, and just how unprepared everybody was. Instead, the character, largely due to acting and directing choices, has little to no consistency in personality. Sunny Deol at least gets to holler and express. Preeti Zinta, for the most part, sobs. The play's author, Syed Asghar Wajahat, was born right before independence in Fatehpur, Uttar Pradesh, to a family that did not migrate to Pakistan. Through his writings and ponderings, we are encouraged to think of the landless and homeless families from India who were new to Pakistan, a visual which Hindi cinema has largely avoided, because it serves to highlight how similar the regular person's plight was on both sides of the border. This novel thought is taken by Santoshi and pummeled to within an inch of its life. You can listen to this movie as a podcast. That's how underlined each statement, each emotion is. It even begins with an overtly familiar 200 saal ki gulami ke baad mulk ka batwara hua style disembodied voiceover. Even an actor like Ali Fazal, usually effortless and understated, overplays the achkan-wearing poet with long hair as if there are no close-ups available, and the audience sitting in the last row of the theater should really feel what Habib Anwar is about.
मंदिर तोड़ दो.
मंदिर तोड़ना इस्लाम नहीं है.
Also, unfortunately, I fully cannot with Abhimanyu Singh, a fine actor who makes bizarre villainous acting choices more vociferously, more loudly than Sunny Deol possibly. His Yaqub Khan is designed to be a loud but essentially empty thug who only threatens, too dumb to achieve anything. The film seems unaware or unwilling to use this character for nuanced commentary, happy to relegate him to an exaggerated, almost comical Ravan in a locally produced Ram Leela type. The screenplay is so messy. Subplots enter and leave as if they're ashamed of being seen here. Ali Fazal gets a parallel love track only for the audience to find out that the woman he loved was sexually assaulted by multiple men. That is the only thing we learn about this woman. Sunny Deol's son, Karan Deol, is given arguably the most interesting character in this narrative, a young, soft-spoken man whose heartbreak is misused and then weaponized by the wannabe politician Yaqub. A young woman sort of helps him snap out of this radicalized state, but of course she also must have shades of a budding romance. Otherwise, what's her point? The young, staid Karan Deol leaves little to no impact in the part, I'm sorry to report. Shabana Azmi is Durgavati Devi, the spectre-like presence in this sprawling Haveli, refusing to leave, a devastating tragic persona. A helpless figure caught in a no-man's land for absolutely no fault of hers, entirely unable to make sense of a situation that is too large and too painful for her to fathom. She almost pretends that nothing has happened, and she doesn't need to change her ways. But instead of a Bishan Singh from Manto's Tuba Tek Singh type, Durgavati is closer to Nirupa Roy from all those Nirupa Roy roles.
माँ अपने आप में एक मजहब है। हर इंसान का पहला मजहब माँ है। हर बच्चे के मुंह से निकला पहला लफ्ज माँ है।
Now, do I think this film is beyond simplistic? Yes. Does the screenplay go round and round in frustrating circles? Also yes. But did two people enthusiastically clap a row behind me in the movie theater when a young girl asked, why can't Hindus and Muslims live in harmony? And Preeti Zinta replied, silly, we've done so for centuries. Big yes. So, in 2026, if a film that primarily wants to remind people that religious divide is manufactured exclusively by power-hungry men, if this film needs to speak a language which includes city-mar dialogue like "Panga lena hai kya? Irade to nahi hai, par long pause. Aitraz bhi nahi hai," then so be it. If the audience needs a reminder that all unchecked anger in the name of nationalism stems from uncontrolled male hubris and ego, it is an attempt I can get behind. It may be a milquetoast take, but at this point, it's something easy to digest and it's not actively divisive. It's welcome. Sunny Deol would like to remind his fans कि शरीफ लोगों की खामोशी सब तबाह कर देती है. This, of course, is a sentiment fascist regimes work overtime to suppress, including the political party he was an enthusiastic member of for an entire term as a member of the parliament. Batwara 1947 is in theaters now.
वो ना घर देखेंगे ना सरहद, सीधा घुस के मारेंगे.
For relation mein recommendation, watch Manto by Nandita Das, a film that premiered at Cannes in 2018, making Das one of the very first few female directors from India to have a feature film in a competitive category at the Cannes Film Festival.
सच तो हरगिज नहीं बोलना चाहिए, वो सफे फाड़ देने चाहिए जो हमें पसंद ना.
Thank you again to channel members and friends whose names are on the screen right now. Look out for announcements for this month's movie club and what films we're going to be discussing. Here you can find my review of The End of Oak Street, and here are my thoughts on the Anthony Bourdain biopic, Tony. Do watch both of these when you can. As always, my name is Acharita. Click the subscribe button before you leave, and thank you for stopping by.